Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again, a simple man diagnosed with NPD, trying to clear up some of those misconceptions about what goes on up in my head. But keep in mind, I am no clinician, so I can only speak to my own experiences and the things that I read, but if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would give you a second to go do that, but you can just pause the video. I'm not stopping you. So anyways, it's a beautiful day out. The sun's shining, birds are chirping, middle of summer, and so I thought I ruined the mood by talking about infidelity. That's just my personal contribution. Anyways, so cheating has a very significant, how would I put it, identity factor for me in some very unfortunate and weird ways. I've talked about a lot of this before, but I want to kind of make it a little more concise about how I relate to the feelings revolving around the act of cheating. And I want to clarify before I go into this video, in no way does this justify cheating for me or for anybody else, no matter what your reasons for cheating are. They're probably not good. They are probably, I can't think of a reason that cheating would be okay. I'm going to start from the perspective that I'm most familiar with, which is not being the cheater or the person being cheated on, but being the person that helps the cheater cheat. That wasn't hard to say at all. Basically, I had a phase, and this is not common for all people with NPD, I want to point out. It's just how this fit into my self-esteem regulation through the years. So I kind of had this phase when I was younger, from like late high school, well, no, early high school, into a little bit after my college years, where I had a habit of finding women who were taken and seducing them. And when I say seducing, I was not being coercive or anything like that. It was just these people wanted to sleep with me and I would oblige, more or less. Not to say that there wasn't any charming going on and stuff, but I think you know what I mean. And your immediate reaction may be, oh, well, you just I guess your immediate reaction might be, oh, you either felt entitled to these women, which to a degree, yeah, sure, I imagine that's a contributing factor, or I just didn't care. But what might surprise you about this is that in the times that I did cheat, it had almost nothing to do with the women themselves. And so you may be thinking, well, what does that mean? You just want to get your rocks off? No, if I just wanted that, I would have gone after a single person. But usually these people would be either dating or engaged or whatever to people I personally envied or felt a need to feel superior about for whatever reason. Sometimes the envy wouldn't be super conscious. It was always a little bit there in the back of my head, but I didn't recognize it at that point. And thus, by sleeping with their girlfriends and stuff, I'd be like, okay, I am better than this person. I have proven this because they are willing to cheat on that person with me. Some of that was rather self-deceptive and not really the foremost thought process when that would go on, but it happened. But that was ultimately the case, and this is the case for most of the times that I do enter into a non-committal sexual relationship. It's always like, oh, this person's going to sleep with me. That means I'm great. That means I am a desirable person and I'm amazing. And if they are already involved romantically with somebody else, oh look, more evidence that I am the greatest thing that's ever existed. And that was a very obviously maladaptive and unhealthy way that I would regulate my self-esteem, especially when it was people who were taken. Not my proudest moments nowadays, but also not my... Also, like, revolving around... This is actually relevant. There was something about that, and I'm not sure how much of this has to do with my own personal ethics system, how... I know a lot of people feel the same way about this that I do, but I see this reaction in people who, like, let's say you have a partner who cheats, right? And I see so much anger focused towards the person that their partner cheated on them with, rather than directed at the person. And I've never understood that. To me, I was always like, if somebody were to cheat on me, which it happened once, my reaction isn't, oh, I hate that person who you cheated with, because that would never even cross my mind. It was, my partner betrayed me and I hate them and I want them gone, basically. It honestly doesn't even make sense to me why, unless that was like a friend of mine who then, he betrayed my trust by sleeping with, but I would still be way more pissed at my partner. I'd be way more likely to forgive a friend over that than my partner. I had this mindset of like, well, if they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. Like, and and if I can prove I'm the most preferable person to cheat with, then why not? Again, I'm being a little cocky here, but I do not condone that kind of behavior. I was not a healthy individual, and I ruined a lot of good relationships doing stuff like that. But yeah, like this anger I see towards the cheating partner, I just don't understand. Like that person didn't, in my mind at least, like other people may feel differently. That's not the person that like betrayed your trust, right? It's like even if they knew, and if they didn't have any personal connection to you, I mean, like, I guess I just don't get it. I really don't. I want to hear other people's opinions on that, especially if you have been like cheated on, because I'm kind of intrigued. I know a lot of people do share that mindset that I have, but I'm still very confused about the other one. And honestly, that may just me trying to rationalize my own behavior in my head. That's just kind of been ingrained over the years, but who knows. Now, on the other hand, when I have cheated, and there's been, so I'm going to put this down into three levels. There's the desire to cheat, there's emotional cheating, and then there's cheating. All of which are 2 degrees betrayal of your partner's trust in my mind. But that's and that can be debated. I'm not saying that as an absolute truth. But as for the desire to cheat, usually the desire to cheat, Jesus, usually that comes out revolving around ideas of, oh, my perfect partner is still out there. Oh, this person isn't good enough for me. Those are usually the driving forces behind that. Because again, like whenever I'm in a relationship with somebody, those insecurities are constantly going through my head. Because that is effectively is what it is. It's an insecurity about the relationship and how the relationship is making you come off, rather than anything about the person itself. I suppose it's me projecting that insecurity. It's like I feel insecure about myself, so I'm projecting on my partner, being like, the reason that this relationship doesn't feel great is because they aren't good enough, whatever. And also there's always that idea of like, oh, soulmates and stuff. And I think that it's very interesting because at the same time, a lot of people kind of have that mindset of like, oh, like if you had a girlfriend and you met your soulmate, obviously you'd break up with them with your soulmate, right? But the issue for me was that the issue becomes with a lot of cluster Bs actually, is that it's very easy for us to think somebody is our soulmate very quickly when they are not. That's a little bit more of a BPD thing, but like it's also present in MPD a little bit. It's more of an emphasis on status and like perfection in itself, though. So eventually that could transform into, especially, so how that usually goes, if there's a woman I have a complex over, like somebody that rejected me in the past, right? And that in my head I'm still idealizing, thinking, oh my God, they're so great, just because they basically knocked me down a peg. If that person comes back to my life and wants to be with me while I'm dating somebody else, that may turn into an emotional affair because I'm thinking, oh, this person is going to be my perfect love. They actually understand me. I'm wasting my time with this other person because they aren't good enough. That's when those kind of feelings come out, right? But interestingly enough, I refuse to engage in physical cheating if I'm having those thoughts about somebody. If I'm like, oh, this person's perfect, I want to be with them, they will understand me, this other partner doesn't appreciate me, or this other partner isn't good enough for me, or they aren't perfect, or whatever, I will not engage into a physical cheating with that person. Because in my mind, if they are willing to engage in that with me, well, especially if they're in a relationship too, in my mind, and this has some like internalized, like this has some like misogynistic vibes to it, and I apologize. This is all pathology. I know that this stuff I'm about to say is not rational, but it's like, oh, if this person is willing to cheat to be with me, then that, I guess, that devalues them in my mind. I'm thinking, well, then they aren't like perfectly loyal, right? That basically is showing a flaw in their character, and that basically completely ruins that. So if it's like an emotional affair like that, I probably think I'm basically in love with the person. But then there's the last one, physical cheating. So if I physically cheat on my partner with you, or if you were in a relationship and I am the person that you cheat with, you can almost guarantee I am doing that instrumentally for some reason. Either maybe in like the cases I mentioned earlier, to prop up my self-esteem, or the more likely one is that I want to hurt my partner, if I'm being honest. Not like, not not as malicious as it sounds, if I'm being honest. It's really more comes from an area of, this person isn't appreciating me. I want them to know that I can get anybody I want and then leave at any moment. That really doesn't sound better now that I said it out loud, if I'm being... I was like, oh no, it's not as bad as it sounds. I guess it was as bad as it sounded, if I'm being honest. I've only done that once. And I don't ever intend to do it again. It came from a genuine feeling of like, one, a rejection's about to happen and I want to win. And also just like, I did feel neglected. I felt like I wasn't being loved the way that I wanted to. And that's an unrealistic expectation, I know. Because the expectations that us cluster Bs have for love are well beyond, especially when we're untreated, are well beyond anybody's capability. And I'm not saying that the partner was in the wrong for that. I am going to say, though, that my feelings weren't, it wasn't so focused on, again, it wasn't so focused on like, oh, I want to hurt this person. It was focused on, I want them to treat me better, basically. And hurting them thus became instrumental, I suppose. But even in the moment, I didn't even feel, like, it didn't even occur to me, like, in the act, I wasn't even like, oh yeah, this will hurt them. It's just like, oh, which I didn't articulate super well in that last video. It's so complicated and hard to explain. It's not focused on hurting them, right? It's focused on being like, oh, they're going to realize that I'm fleeting and then realize that like I am worth keeping around. It's very much me focused. It's like, I'm not even really considering the fact that I am hurting them. It's just that, oh, they're now going to realize that they can lose me. And thus they're going to realize how much I mean to them and how valuable I am to them. And thus they will like start treating me well again and start, admiring me and like we'll go back into this perfect love or whatever. Super fucking maladaptive, I know. I have not cheated in a long time and I do not plan on it. I haven't helped anybody cheat either and I do not plan on it. Because again, I want to finish this video up by saying none of these behaviors are okay. No matter what your disorder is, no matter what the context is, cheating is not okay. There's probably I'm sure somebody's going to name like one or two instances where it's not good, but it's a thing that is necessary. But I struggle to think of a single one where it is justified, and that's just, and to show that, yeah, I have changed from that. I don't do that anymore, but also I've avoided relationships. So like, who knows if I would? I hope that I wouldn't. I hope I am far enough along, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, hope this cleared some of the stuff up. Again, if you like this video, please like, comment, all that other crap that everyone tells you to do and you never do. Whatever. Take your meds. Bye.